The moment researchers fed thousands of recordings into an AI model, a hidden pattern appeared, almost like a language. Crows have always been known for their intelligence. For years, crow calls were dismissed as noise, background sound in our cities and parks. Then scientists used AI to listen closely, and everything changed. The patterns were clear, structured, and focused on one subject we didn't expect: us. This isn't about smarter birds or cute tricks. It's about memory, recognition, and something being shared out of sight. One specific discovery inside this research made scientists stop and rethink who is watching whom. The question isn't what crows are saying, but why it matters now. Crow communication reveals names and stories. When scientists first fed thousands of hours of crow sounds into artificial intelligence software, they expected a jumble of random noises, simple calls marking food or danger. Instead, the AI uncovered something astonishing. These sounds were structured, almost like a language with grammar and syntax. It found specific sequences of calls that repeated in consistent patterns, which hinted at something far deeper than meaningless squawks. One particular sequence, nicknamed the Red Hat sequence, stood out because it was linked to a single individual. In one recording, a man wearing a red hat strolled through a park. A crow made a distinct call, which to the human ear sounded like ordinary cawing, but the AI's detailed analysis of pitch, frequency, and timing identified this call as a unique identifier, essentially a name. A few days later, the same man walked the same path, and the same crow repeated the exact call. Even more remarkable came weeks later when a completely different crow, one never seen interacting with the man before, used that identical call upon seeing him. That meant the name given to the man had spread through the crow community, passed from bird to bird. This discovery challenges long-held assumptions. We generally think animals might recognize individuals within their species, but the idea that crows assign proper names to humans and communicate those names collectively is revolutionary. They aren't just reacting emotionally, they are sharing detailed, actionable information. The AI demonstrated that the Red Hat call was reserved solely for that man, suggesting a level of specificity previously believed impossible in bird communication. Scientists now suspect these vocalizations operate like data packets, transmitting complex social information across the flock. We often assume animals' vocal behavior is simple and immediate, alerts for danger or calls for food. But it seems crows are creating lasting profiles on the humans they encounter. Far beyond just labeling a threat or reward, they compile detailed dossiers on us, shared collaboratively among thousands of birds across neighborhoods. What does this mean for us? For one, it flips the script on how we see urban wildlife. These birds aren't passive observers. They are active record keepers engaged in social storytelling. The ramifications ripple beyond curiosity. If crows can communicate this level of information about individuals, could they also explain behaviors, motives, or histories? The thought is chilling. The deeper the researchers looked, the more complex these stories became. Calls weren't isolated to the moment they happened. The AI found sequences predating events, suggesting crows strategize and prepare as a group. This means their language might act not only as a ledger of facts, but also as a forum for planning communal action based on those facts. The social implications extend well beyond simple recognition to organization and collaboration. Despite their relative smallness, crows seem to have created a vast, dynamic system for sharing knowledge about humans and the environment. This system isn't static. It evolves as new information becomes available, and as crows update their knowledge base collectively. The mystery deepens when you realize this detailed communication is mostly about us. Humans are the centerpiece of their stories. Much of the communication among them also has a strong emotional impact, and this was the result of specific markers that were detected by the AI. Some of the phone calls are neutral, but still the majority are negative alerts, caution signs about aggressive people with sticks or guns. The fact that crows give emotional meaning to people implies that they judge the risk, the intention, and possibly even the reputation as well. We have always looked at them with scorn or have considered them as pests, but now it is evident that they have a constant awareness of our actions. One might say that this is not very clear yet, but generally, wide-ranging viewing of us suggests that the intimacy of our relationship with the crows is much more than we ever thought. They have not only given us names, but are also observing and evaluating us, making profiles that could last longer than we do. The question that arises is no longer whether crows can understand us or not, but rather what they are going to do with that understanding. The capacity of the crows to identify humans correctly, as well as to share minute details about them, establishes the basis for depicting their intelligence in a wider context. It raises the question of what cognitive mechanisms are behind such communication, the very neural pathways and mental capacities responsible for these remarkable behaviors. Transitioning from their complex communication, we must uncover how the crow's brain makes this level of social intelligence possible. Crows plan and strategize socially. The crow's language goes beyond labels and emotional signals. It reveals planning and foresight never fully credited to birds. The AI detected vocal patterns occurring before events,
When I tell you that scientists used AI to decode crow sounds,
indicating crows don't merely react to danger or opportunity, they anticipate and strategize within their communities. These pre-event conversations appear to lay out plans, warnings, and preparations for future encounters. Imagine groups of crows gathering silently in trees, exchanging complex sequences of calls that forecast approaching humans or predators. Instead of scattering immediately, they discuss and organize coordinated responses. This kind of planning requires memory, prediction, and social organization, tools usually reserved for much larger mammals. It suggests their social intelligence operates on multiple timescales: immediate reaction and forward-thinking coordination. These findings upend the traditional belief that animals live only in the present moment. Instead, crows seem to form mental maps, not just of their physical environment, but of the behaviors and patterns of those around them, particularly humans. They monitor our habits and share updates, so the flock collectively understands who poses a threat and who offers safety. It's a communal awareness that fast-tracks survival. Importantly, the AI also revealed that crows embed emotional information in their calls, categorized in intricate ways. For example, distinct vocalizations differentiate a human holding a stick from one with food, reflecting nuanced social judgments. This fine-tuned discrimination shows crows interpret intent, associating actions with potential outcomes. These judgments help coordinate their strategies and actions in a shared social space. Their planning even extends to social rules and justice. Researchers have observed crow courts where birds that break flock norms are criticized or ostracized. This structured enforcement suggests crows maintain social order through collective decision-making, a behavior linked closely to coordinated planning and group cohesion. Such governance requires communication systems supporting both factual and evaluative content. Their capacity to foresee is a characteristic of their mental complexity, which allows them to do things like decipher riddles, create and fix tools, and also to change their course of action according to the environment. Such a combination of tactical foresight and logical reasoning means that the intelligence of the crows is very much the same as that of primates. It is not just instinct, but deliberate action with cause and effect applied. So, crows are not just keeping their heads above water by being reactive. They are letting their intelligence shine through as problem solvers and even team players. The language they share is the venue for their discussions, arguments, and coordination. And the world they do this in has been greatly impacted by human existence. This scenario places humans right in the middle of the crow's social life. We are frequently either the topic, the one who started it, or the antagonist of their tactics. But how do they go about doing everything with such small brains like a walnut? The solution to this mystery is the surprising and incredible structure of their brains, which is the end point of their intelligence, as well as the power to create not only language, but also social networks. The brain they possess is a wonder of compact efficiency and is made up of a high concentration of neurons. The neurophysiological basis of these abilities is also the foundation on which crows' organizing and communication skills are built. A crow's brain is not just a mini version of a human brain, it is rather a different one, optimized for social living and problem-solving, as well as being able to compete with larger mammals. Transitioning from their remarkable strategizing abilities, let's explore the unique brain structure that powers this astonishing intelligence. The intelligence hidden in a small brain. For decades, scientists underestimated birds because their brains look nothing like mammal brains. Without the wrinkled cerebral cortex, the outer layer humans rely on for thinking and planning, birds were often dismissed as simpler creatures. But this was a profound mistake. Crows possess a different brain structure called the pallium, which, though unlike our cortex in shape, contains neurons packed incredibly densely. Under a microscope, the pallium reveals a design of tightly clustered neurons, enabling complex processing. In fact, measured by neuron count relative to weight, a crow's brain rivals that of chimpanzees, despite being only the size of a walnut. This compact supercomputer design supports advanced cognitive skills such as language, memory, and abstract reasoning. It underpins their ability to solve multi-step puzzles, craft tools, and understand cause and effect. This discovery has led scientists to dub crows feathered apes, reflecting their cognitive parallels with primates. Their intelligence isn't a matter of size, but of neural density and circuit complexity. It's no surprise, then, that crows operate with high logic and adaptability rather than simple instinct. For example, the New Caledonian crow exemplifies this intelligence through its sophisticated tool use.
Confronted by a transparent cylinder with a food reward, the cunning crow immediately knows the correct approach.
It doesn't just pick up sticks. It engineers tools by trimming leaves into jagged patterns to scoop insects. If the tool breaks or is unsuitable, the crow improvises with wire or twigs, displaying an understanding of design and function. This type of engineering reflects not accident, but deliberate problem-solving. Crows have also passed stringent cognitive tests that measure understanding of physics and cause and effect. In one test, a crow faced a tube of water with a floating treat unreachable without raising the water level. Presented with heavy stones and light styrofoam, the bird chose only the stones and dropped them one by one. This demonstrated an intuitive grasp of density and displacement, a physics principle even toddlers struggle with. Their reasoning extends to tools and machinery as well. In experiments, crows learned to push hidden levers using sticks to activate mechanisms releasing food. This skill requires mental maps of unseen processes and an ability to anticipate the consequences of actions. Their capacity for such abstract thought is rare and striking among non-mammals. All these cognitive feats make the crow's brain a marvel of evolution, tailored for social living and environmental mastery. Their mental abilities align perfectly with the complex language detected by AI, affirming that their communication is not random noise, but meaningful interaction. So, when we hear their calls, we are listening to the voices of creatures who think, plan, and communicate with a depth that rivals many mammals. Their brains support a world of intelligence hidden behind feathers, defying any simplistic notion of bird behavior. Bridging their neural power and social strategy reveals how deeply connected their language and cognition are, laying the groundwork to understand just how intertwined our lives have become with theirs. The crow's unseen intelligence is what allows them to watch, remember, and maybe even manipulate the humans around it in ways we are only starting to grasp. Tool use demonstrates logical thinking. One of the most remarkable signs of crow intelligence lies in their sophisticated use of tools, a rare trait in the animal kingdom. Unlike many creatures that simply use what's readily available, Crows actively craft tools with purpose and design. The New Caledonian crow, often called the Einstein of the bird world, goes beyond just picking up sticks. It manufactures saw-like tools by snipping leaves from a plant called pandanus. By tearing the leaf edges into precise, jagged patterns, these crows create effective bug extractors, showing not accidental behavior, but deliberate engineering. This tool-making isn't just a fixed instinctive pattern. Crows can adapt and improvise. If their preferred leaf isn't available, they switch to alternatives like twigs or wire, demonstrating flexibility in both planning and execution. They also repair broken tools, understanding functionality well enough to maintain or redesign their implements as needed. This level of problem-solving points to a mental blueprint, an internalized design they visualize before crafting, rather than trial and error fumbling. But tool use is only part of their cognitive toolkit. The famous water displacement test reveals even more astonishing reasoning. In a classic experiment inspired by Aesop's fable, a crow faced a tube with a treat floating out of reach. Nearby were two piles of objects, heavy stones and light styrofoam. Rather than randomly tossing anything, the crow carefully selected and dropped only the stones, raising the water level to reach its prize. This clearly shows an understanding of density and cause and effect, concepts many animals don't grasp. What's truly mind-blowing is how quickly crows solve these puzzles. Tasks that would take a human toddler 10 minutes to figure out are often solved by crows within seconds. Their ability to grasp physical principles like displacement challenges any notion that they operate on simple instincts or reflexes. Instead, it highlights a deep logical understanding of the environment and its mechanics. Crows also apply this logic to machines. For instance, in a series of tests, they were to use a stick to push a hidden lever inside a box that was puzzling to get food. It was not easy. The lever was invisible, so the birds had to mentally create a map of the concealed mechanisms before acting. Their success is a clear indicator of a high-level skill of mentally simulating cause and effect relationships and picturing how the elements of a system interact. This type of thinking is very sophisticated indeed and is rarely found outside primates. The problem-solving ability of the birds is so remarkable that it serves as a confirmation of what the AI has indirectly stated about their language. Crows are the lucky ones who have to use very complex thought to express detailed plans, give warnings, or convey social messages. They indicate their intelligence through the use of tools, which, however, is only one manifestation of their mental ability to structure sounds in the form of articulated communications. Thus, they are thinkers, and not merely creatures governed by instincts. Their intelligent application is what makes the whole thing frightening, not only on puzzles and tools, but on us in particular. Crows see humans as a riddle to be solved, much like a tool or barrier in their habitat. They observe our actions, intentions, and even make judgments based on our behavior. Their skill in object manipulation may turn into human manipulation over time. We often classify crows as bothersome or unlucky, but their construction and logic skills point to a being that is much more devious than we think. They can not only use their brains to make tools, but also to create social tools, names, ways of playing, and networks that are very much like us, but alarmingly so. The insight into the crow's mind enables them to easily tell us apart and keep that information for years, as they have a memory that allows them to monitor human behavior even more closely than before. Crows' tool-making genius is one thing, but their remarkable skill at recognizing and remembering human faces brings their intelligence even closer to home. Facial recognition and lasting memory. Scientists have long known that crows can recognize human faces, but the scale and persistence of their memory are far more extreme than once believed. A landmark study by John Marsluff at the University of Washington revealed just how deep this ability goes. Wearing a distinctive caveman mask, Marsluff captured and tagged crows on campus for research.
What we found right away was that basically crows exist where people exist. Even in the remote wilderness, it's where there's a campground or something like that.
Although the birds were not harmed, they immediately responded with intense aggression, screaming and dive-bombing him whenever he appeared. What made the findings unsettling was how quickly this reaction spread. Within days, crows that had never been captured or even seen the event began attacking the caveman mask as well. The warning moved rapidly through the crow community. Even more striking, 5 years later, long after the original birds had died, new generations still recognized and targeted the same mask. This demonstrated that crows share detailed descriptions of human faces and preserve that information across time, creating long-lasting social memory. This means a human's reputation with crows can travel far beyond a single location. Annoy or threaten a crow in one area, and nearby flocks may already know who you are. Changing clothes or hairstyles won't help. Crows recognize facial structure, movement patterns, posture, and subtle gestures. Their recognition is precise, persistent, and widely shared, more like data than emotion. Crows also make nuanced judgments. AI analysis shows they react differently to humans depending on context. A person holding food triggers a different response than one holding a stick or a gun. Crows appear to interpret intent, not just objects, adjusting their calls and behavior accordingly. This suggests a sophisticated ability to read human body language and assess risk in real time. These judgments have real consequences. Humans who regularly feed crows often receive gifts in return, small pieces of glass, beads, or coins. This exchange reflects a form of cross-species reciprocity, where trust and consistency are rewarded. Crow vocalizations toward friendly humans even shift in pitch and tone, suggesting emotional nuance within these interactions. But crows also hold grudges. If a person harms a crow or disrupts the flock, that individual becomes marked. Alarm calls broadcast the threat widely, and the memory doesn't fade. There is no forgiveness system, only long-term categorization as friend or enemy. In effect, humans live under the watch of a decentralized, winged surveillance network. Crows observe behavior, remember it, and share it efficiently across large areas. Their facial recognition isn't just a clever trick. It's the backbone of a complex social system built on memory, judgment, and communication. These abilities feed directly into the crow's social life, supporting systems of cooperation, punishment, and ritual. Funerals, courts, and reciprocal exchanges reveal a parallel society operating quietly alongside ours, one that has been watching, remembering, and responding to human behavior all along. Their tool use and memory of us showcase practical intelligence. Their social customs reveal cultural depth. Together, these reveal the full spectrum of crow sophistication and hint at what might come next. Social systems, courts, funerals, and trade. Crows are more than just intelligent problem solvers. They live in complex societies governed by rules and rituals that echo human cultures. When a crow dies, the flock doesn't simply scatter. Instead, they gather around the body, an eerie and solemn assembly. One crow will locate the fallen individual and issue a specific call, signaling the others to convene. Silence follows as dozens of crows land nearby, not to attack or scavenge, but to observe. Scientists once thought this behavior was grief, but recent AI analysis suggests something more practical is happening. The crows are conducting what looks like a crime scene investigation. Through low-frequency sounds during these gatherings, they encode information about the cause of death, whether it was a predator, accident, or human threat. This ritual serves as both a warning and a way to transfer knowledge critical to survival. Justice among crows isn't limited to death ceremonies. Observers have documented crow courts, where members confront individual birds that break social norms, like stealing from younger crows or cheating within the group. These offenders face collective condemnation. The flock surrounds them, screaming, pecking, and sometimes even forcing them out of the community. Such behaviors enforce social order through peer pressure and punishment. Enforcement extends to interactions with humans as well. The AI's analysis showed that crows distinguish alarm calls based on human actions and objects. They differentiate between a person carrying a stick versus a gun, a hunter aiming at the trees versus a hiker strolling on a path. This nuanced communication reflects a deep understanding of threat levels and intentions, underscoring their social intelligence. Their skill in understanding human body language and intentions is remarkable. For example, when someone approaches them with a broom for cleaning, crows do not get nervous. On the other hand, if someone is about to thrust the broom at them, they are gone before the action takes place. This astonishingly swift evaluation and action display a certain social awareness that is similar to that of many mammals, and also indicate that they are weighing up the situation continuously, measuring the risk of being friends or enemies right then. Not only that, but when crows are wary of humans, they still participate in social exchanges with people, whereby they will give and take. Those who have the habit of feeding crows every day are usually the ones to receive gifts, such as shiny beads, colorful pieces of glass, or even coins from crows. The reason for these gifts is more than just a casual offer. It is a sign of a very complex interspecies economy, a form of trading where food equals loyalty. The vocalizations of crows around these generous humans are softer, higher in pitch, and full of sounds that resemble love. The interplay of death, justice, and giving among these creatures reveals a culturally and morally affluent society. They are governed by powerful, if sometimes invisible, social laws that dictate their behavior and the maintenance of their relations. Moreover, they are constantly interacting not only with one another, but also with the humans around them. This level of social complexity leads us to give up the idea that they are merely animals surviving. On the contrary, they are a parallel civilization alongside ours. Amongst these crows, the record of friendship and enmity is elaborately kept. It is their trials and judgments that are, most of the time, human beings. The research conducted by AI informs us that a large part of the time of the corvids is being used for the discussion on which of the three categories, friend, neutral, or enemy, each individual belongs to. It is like they are constantly having court sessions in the air, with the verdicts being loudly uttered and thus shared through their networks. While their society governs the here and now, their voices echo across vast distances, revealing a network far beyond local flocks. A viral, continent-spanning communication that rewrites how we see animal intelligence. A connected network with dialects and viral calls. Crows don't communicate in isolation. Their calls travel, change, and spread across regions,
and it has confirmed that crows are constantly monitoring us,
forming what researchers describe as an analog internet of information. Using AI, scientists mapped thousands of crow vocalizations and discovered clear regional dialects. A crow in New York sounds different from one in London, much like human languages differ by location. Yet some calls, especially urgent alarms tied to specific dangers, move far beyond local borders. These calls spread like viral memes. An alarm created in a Chicago suburb can appear months later in St. Louis, used by crows that never encountered the original flock. This shows that warnings and social signals jump from group to group, covering hundreds of miles. No infrastructure is needed, just observation, imitation, and social learning. It's a natural wireless network operating in plain sight. This system allows crows to update their collective knowledge in real time. When a new threat, such as a drone or unfamiliar trap, appears in one area, the information travels faster than the danger itself. Nearby crows learn how to react without ever encountering the threat firsthand. Rather than starting from scratch each generation, crows inherit a growing library of shared experience spread across entire regions. This level of cultural transmission is rare outside humans. We often assume teaching, writing, and formal language are uniquely ours. Yet crows maintain an efficient oral tradition that preserves and distributes survival-critical information over time and as distance. Their acoustic network reveals crows as deeply social creatures embedded in a vast information ecosystem. Individual flocks aren't isolated groups, but active nodes in a continent-wide web. Warnings, labels, and learned behaviors circulate continuously, creating collective memory and shared culture. This challenges how we think about animal intelligence. Instead of simple location-bound calls, crows appear to maintain a living database of knowledge that shapes behavior on a large scale. Their communication blurs the line between individual thinking and group intelligence. Then the pattern breaks. Toward the end of the AI study, researchers noticed crow calls suddenly losing structure. Grammar dissolved into chaotic noise, and the AI could no longer decode meaning. This abrupt shift hints at something unsettling. The possibility that crows intentionally altered their vocal patterns to avoid being understood, as if they were encrypting their conversations once they realized they were being listened to. And that sudden silence may be the most revealing signal of all. Crow dialects form a viral network. For months, artificial intelligence quietly analyzed terabytes of crow sounds.
Researchers in the lab exposed the birds to something interesting, like food or the sound of other crows,
Steadily decoding what appeared to be a structured system. The AI identified repeating syntax, warning patterns, social hierarchies, and even signs of gossip. It looked like a breakthrough in understanding animal communication. Then, without warning, the system collapsed. Familiar call structures vanished, replaced by chaotic, undecipherable noise. The AI could no longer translate meaning, only record sound. This wasn't a normal dialect change. The shift spread rapidly from flock to flock, crossing territories in weeks. Scientists were left confused. One unsettling theory emerged. The crows realized they were being observed. They noticed microphones hidden in trees and cameras tucked into foliage. More importantly, they noticed humans standing still, silently recording instead of reacting. To the crows, this behavior was abnormal. The watchers weren't neutral, they were intruders. The researchers have a theory that the birds might have mixed up their vocalizations on purpose, thus making their communication encrypted. Although encryption is a concept that is considered to be for humans only, crows are already proving to be quite smart. They do complex problems, tell different human faces apart for a long time, have funerals, and share experiences with younger ones. Changing their communication to keep information safe may be another way of surviving. In case this theory is true, the inconspicuous noise might be a disguise, concealing real dialogues that take place beyond our detecting or decoding capabilities. The crows did not cease to communicate. They simply made it private. This is a significant change. We, humans, are no longer invisible observers who are studying very primitive animals. The subjects are aware and are changing their behavior in response. For a long time, crows were considered to be nothing but scavengers. Now AI has unveiled the existence of a hidden society, one that follows us, knows us, and might even be letting us know its secrets. The question is not what the crows are saying anymore, but rather what they do not want us to hear. We've uncovered a hidden world where crows name humans, trade warnings, and may even scramble their messages to keep us out. Their intelligence forces us to rethink the boundaries between human and animal minds. If this sparked your curiosity, tap like, subscribe for more mind-bending discoveries, and watch the next video unfolding on your screen. What do you think the crows are up to next? Drop your thoughts below.